Hardy's tactics about the way to march and shoot, and they began reading. Uniforms arrived at some point for the would-be soldiers, gray-colored, made out of something called shoddy, and they soon fell apart. Elections followed. The men were to elect their own officers. Lewis Brooks and his first cousin, Will Houghton, were named officers. Charlie Gibson was a private who was soon to become a corporal, and we could place a special focus on him because we now have his letters, lost to history until recently. Thanks to this wonderful museum and all its volunteers who are professionalizing their approach to history, we can learn about a real life. At this moment, we can freeze Charlie and the rest of the devoted little band there at the train station in May of 1863 and look at them. They were taking some things with them. They shared history in the pioneer village, the faith in their small churches, the brotherly care for each other, and the cheers, hopes, and worries of their mothers, dads, and neighbors. The older generation suspected that war was not a picnic, but who could tell the boys that? Charlie and his friends headed by train first to Vincennes to pick up companies P, B, and G of that place, then to Terre Haute Fairgrounds, where they were to be joined by soldiers from southern Indiana, Rockville to Owen County, the Shoals, 10 Indiana counties. As a military regiment of 1,000 men, they drilled, passed around that book of Hardy's tactics for battlefield performance, and were supplied with guns. The boys from Mount Pleasant were disappointed. The old-fashioned guns were nothing but old muskets. Charlie Gibson, Houghton, Brooks, Riley, and the others rode the train to Rich Mountain July 10, 1861, prepared to meet soldiers from the new Confederacy. It was the first land battle of the Civil War they actually went to. The regiment was held in reserve, but saw wounded and dead carried from the field. It was a shock to these country boys. They headed for cold and boredom on Cheat Mountain, fall and winter of 1861 to 1862. It's up there where that beautiful resort for wealthy people and politicians, Greenbrier, is, if any of you have ever seen that colonial mansion. They were up in there, but there was no colonial mansion for them to stay in. The boys had no overcoats until the colonel went to Governor Morton, who went to Lincoln for clothing. Early on, Charlie was named a corporal. Now, what did a corporal do in the war between the states? The 1865 description of duties of various officers in the Northern Army says Charlie, as a respected young man worthy of leadership, would have helped supervise the changing of the guard, picket duty, camp routine, helped with inspection, drilled a few soldiers who couldn't seem to follow the marching orders, about face, present, and the rest. A corporal was to serve as a good example, a living example for soldiers in neatness, is the way they read, and responsibility. And it seemed from earliest times that Charlie was good at that.